water supply in the Five Rivers area. Vandals damaged electrical components by breaking the gate lock for access with an unclear motive and no theft involved. The facility is now operational after undisclosed internal repairs, including the temporary relocation of a motor from the Aripo booster station. The increase in nationwide vandalism at WASA's plants is concerning, prompting boosted security measures in collaboration with the intelligence agencies and the Ministry of National Security to catch the culprits. And finally, the MV Cabo Star has received certification and is set to commence sailing today at 2 p.m. from Port of Spain. The return journey is scheduled to depart from Scarborough at 11 p.m. tonight. And that concludes your news in 90 seconds.
Tobago, after freeness is more speed and better TV. Get a free Samsung smartphone and free installation, plus 200 megabits per second, Paramount Plus, and more for only $299 with a select 200 plan from Flow. Visit online at discoverflow.co today.
Thank you there, Biana, for giving us some updates of what's happening in and around Trinidad, Tobago, and the region. Viewers, we're going to head on over into our birthday segment.
Birthday shoutouts on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC. Birthday shoutouts on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC.
Well, it's nice we do it twice, and celebrating her birthday today is Assemblyman Megan Morrison. Happy birthday going out to you, and this is coming to you not only from the Tobago Updates family, but from the class of 89 Signal Hill Secondary School. Lots of love going out to you. Have a great one. Gracelyn Eli celebrating her birthday. Happy birthday going out to you, Miss Eli, and we trust that you have a great one. Lots of love from the entire Tobago Updates family. And he's the man behind Dominion Promotions, Vern Joseph, celebrating his birthday. Happy birthday going out to you, and love from the entire, the Calvary Road Deliverance Tabernacle family, and from all of us here at Tobago Updates. Onika Henry, Henry celebrating her birthday. Happy birthday going out to you, and never a dull moment when Onika is around. I trust that you have a great one, and lots of love from Julian and the entire Tobago Updates family.
Birthday shoutouts on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC.
From the experts that created the Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger.
The only one I see is you.
Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
All right, viewers, welcome back. And again, this is the Tobago Updates morning show. At this time, viewers, we're going to let you know what's coming up on the program this morning. Again, it's Tuesday, the 19th of September, 2023. So we're going to start things off this morning chatting with Dr. Bo Tiwari, former minister or former member of Parliament, Ministry of Planning. And this morning, the focus is on the possible minimum wage increase, what that could mean for us in Trinidad as well as in Tobago. And then we're going to chat with Ajay Allen, Public Relations Officer, Canaan Bonaccord, Crown Point Community Council, about the CBC Community Health Fair and the CBC Lunar Games. He'll tell us more about it. And then we're going to switch gears. We're going to have a very interesting host joining the show this morning, Will I Am. You don't want to miss this. So you're going to be hearing more about Fog Angels Carnival Village, Tobago Music Industry, and Isaiah for Tobago Carnival 2023. You don't want to miss that coming up later on the program this morning. And of course, you can join Candace from 8 o'clock on GMT. So that's what our morning looks like. And we want to say good morning to all of you connecting with us on the live. To Auntie Dora, good morning. It's been a while since we've connected with you on the live. Good morning to all of the viewers. Of course, we invite you this morning to share your comments and your questions on the live with us. And if you've got a birthday celebration coming up here, that's my earpiece. It's one of those mornings. If you've got a birthday celebration coming up, please feel free to send us your pictures and your sentiments. We would love to have you showcased and celebrated on our program. All right, so that's what our morning looks like. Glennis Wint Lawrence, good morning to you. Really good to have you on the program with us this morning, or locked on to the program this morning. And we're coming to you live this morning from the Port Mall, Lower Scarborough. And you can view us this morning on the go on Facebook and YouTube. Well, viewers, just about this time, we have got our guest. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, our guest is going to be joining us as we head on over to Tobago in Focus.
Naturally, most persons think that gender automatically refers to a male or female. However, the term can be used in many instances. The gender unit within the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection assists persons in vulnerable situations. Gender Officer Nigel Phillip explains the unit's responsibility in detail.
We address issues of gender-based violence. We address issues of matters that deal with students at schools. So we are in the schools, we are in different programs throughout Tobago, men's group. We address issues that affect both men and also issues that affect female.
For the gender unit to be effective, Philip states they need to have persons on the ground to assist. This currently consists of different NGO groups, religious-based organizations, agencies in Trinidad, and the Ministry of Gender Affairs. The unit also works with the United Nations.
So what we do in terms of we address issues of gender-based violence. So we provide support for persons who come into our office that is affected by gender-based violence. We also work very closely with the TTPS, the police services, the victim and support unit. When cases of domestic violence or gender-based violence come to hand, they will refer the matter to us.
In addition to the unit's large portfolio, they give further intervention when needed. They provide support to NGOs by means of training in how to deal with violence and violent situations. They also provide support by means of funding for various programs.
Presently, right now, from 2020 to present right now, we have been working with the Spotlight Initiative. The Spotlight Initiative is a program designed to assist persons who in gender-based violence. So it educates them. We have different aspects of the program. And one of those aspects is that where we work with those NGOs. So the training that we will offer them is like we had training in sexual violence and how to deal with sexual violence. We have training we would have done training in shelter management. And we would have tried to do training with key persons on the ground.
Key persons on the ground are inclusive of the judiciary, the police services, first responders, and medical services. These trainings also include support training and learning how to gauge persons when they come for support.
Viewers, welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates morning show. This time we are chatting with Dr. Bo Tiwari, former Member of Parliament, Ministry of Planning, as we focus this morning on the possible minimum wage increase. Good morning and welcome to Dr. Tiwari.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
It's good to have you. I think it's a pleasure having you this morning on our program. I think this is the first time.
Yes, it is. And good morning to all your viewers in Tobago.
All right. Well, Dr. Tiwari, let's jump right in. Give us an idea this morning. When was the last wage increase for Trinidad and Tobago, and how much was it?
Well, I think during the period 2010 to 2015, there actually were two wage increases. The last one taking up the minimum wage to about $15 an hour. At the present time now, I think what is happening is that people are reeling from, first of all, the pandemic and its effects, and secondly, the inflation, which is global in nature but impacting on us because we are in an import driven society in terms of most of our consumer needs, including food. And that is, what can I say, cutting into the purchasing power of the ordinary citizen. You know? So that is where the problem has arisen, and that's why the demands for wage increases. If you look at the official figures suggest that inflation is just under 6%. Now, that may sound modest, but in reality, when you look at the purchasing power, you will find that perhaps 6% does not reveal the full picture that is facing the consumer in the marketplace. When you look at food inflation numbers are just under 10%. And again, most people might find that 10% is a low number when you're talking about market goods and groceries and so on. If you look at what has been happening with workers, you have three trends emerging. One is that the private sector wages have gone up by about 10%. Government wages have been kept down with an increase of just 4%. And I think most working people are under pressure. Households are under pressure. As I said, purchasing power has been reduced. And you can also see the pressure on the companies, because you might have seen the story last night with Massey trying to retrench some workers and the union pushing back. And in many places, companies are trying to be as efficient as possible. This is a worldwide phenomenon where people have used the pandemic to try and make their businesses more effective, more efficient, etc. All right, and so that puts the worker in a kind of weak position. It puts the ordinary worker in a very weak position, not just as worker, but in the marketplace. But on the other hand, the minimum wage increase, if it comes, and I think it is desirable that you have a minimum wage increase, it will affect mostly the private sector. Because most government wages have met the minimum wage standard and are generally above that. But it will affect the business community, and it will particularly affect those businesses that are struggling at a time when businesses generally in the country have a struggle. You saw where the one business in Tobago last night closed its doors.
Yes.
I think the owner was saying after 20 years, this is the first time.
Yes.
So the business climate in the country is not right. The economic policies in the country don't seem to be working for growth. We have had a 3% growth for the last quarter, but over the last 8 or 9 years or so, we have had close to 18% reduction in the GDP. So the any growth that you have is simply catching up. So if you grow by 1%, you will reduce the GDP loss to 17%. If you grow by 2%, you'll reduce the GDP growth by 16%. If you grow by 3%, you'll reduce the GDP loss by 15%, and so on. And then on top of that, you have this foreign exchange crunch. The minister and the government does not like to call it a crisis. And my good friend, the representative for Trinidad and Guyana, said recently that there was no crisis of foreign exchange, but the truth is there is one, and the government needs to address that. So I don't think you can take the issue of minimum wage and whether to increase it and how much to increase it on its own.
Right.
I think the government is really missing the ball in terms of effective economic policy and an assessment of the social impact of the pandemic and its consequences over the last 3 years. And therefore, you do not have integrated policy and holistic policy to address these multifaceted challenges that we are facing. And I really think that it's a governance and policy issue that needs to be addressed properly. And I don't see any effort to do it in a holistic manner. We are just dealing with these things one by one. You're dealing with minimum wage, you're dealing with forex shortage, you're dealing with inflation, etc. And this kind of picking and choosing the crisis as they appear and hit people in the face is not a way to govern a country.
All right, Dr. Tiwari, very quickly here, I want to ask you, do you believe that Tobago, because of the cost, the rise, the hike in cost of living, do you believe that Tobago is going to feel the brunt? Should there be another wage increase, Tobago is going to feel the brunt of it far more than Trinidad?
Well, I think you have to have a wage policy for the whole country. And if you do it, Tobago will benefit, Trinidad will benefit, etc. But I do take your point. Because of the production system and because of the additional dependence of Tobago, not just on imports, but transfers from Trinidad to Tobago, I think the price effect on Tobago consumers is more severe. And I do agree with that. But I believe that there should be a minimum wage increase for the entire country. Because, if you pay somebody $20 an hour, which would be a $5 increase, or you pay them $21 an hour, which would be a $6 increase, which is less than $1 US.
Yeah.
Basically, for an 8-hour day, a person will make about 160 or a little more if it's 21. For a week, they will make 800. I think at that level, they may not be paying taxes, because I think that I can't remember what the number is now, but I think if you earn about $60,000 a year, you do not pay any taxes. So I think that would help in terms of allowing people to live. A lot of people, you see, the problem is complicated. That's why I said we are not addressing policy properly.
Yeah.
The problem is complicated by home ownership. In Tobago, you have a lot of people who own their own homes, but you also have people who rent. And in Trinidad, a lot of people rent. It is complicated by things like taxi fares and unreliable bus transport and the inefficiencies in the system. In addition, you are dealing with the fear of leaving your home and your work and then leaving your work to come home. And then what is happening too is the technological changes are making are changing the nature of work and the nature of jobs. So that is also affecting the way business relates to their employees. I mean, I think the Prime Minister said in his last press conference that they were going to have a spotlight on the economy. I was hoping that the spotlight on the economy will be before the budget, but the budget is on October 2nd, and it is unlikely that the spotlight will be before that. So the spotlight will come after the budget, after the decisions are made, and they will be explaining what they're doing in the budget. I mean, I really feel that that is shortchanging the population, and they should have had the consultation before. And my own feeling is that unless you take a holistic approach to policy, and I really mean this seriously. I mean, there are so many things from crime to the economy, and crime is affecting the economy, and the economy is affecting criminality and recruitment capacity of the gangs and the criminal elements as well. So there is a synergy there, there's a nexus. And I think that the government, given it has agreed to talk to the opposition on crime, the opposition has agreed to talk with the government on crime. I feel that that is important, and I hope that it will come to something. I hope it will not be another political fiasco. But the government and the opposition are not the only people who live in this country. And there's a difference between government and governance. And they should really talk to the private sector. They should talk to the unions. They should talk to the civil society. Come up with a social pact, a socio-economic pact for how we are proceeding over the next number of years and see what we can do. And this impasse between the House of the Assembly on the one hand and the central government on the other cannot continue in this way in the interest of the people of Tobago and in the interest of Tobago and Trinidad and in the interest of the nation state of Trinidad and Tobago. And we may have problems as well with the local government. We don't know. The government had agreed to local government reform. I don't know how fast that is going to be proceeded with. So what I am saying, I'm not trying to make things complicated or hard for the listener or the viewer. I am not trying to talk about everything under the sun for the listener or the viewer, but I'm trying to get the citizen to understand that you cannot deal with the problems such as we have now in Trinidad. Our revenue situation is going to be horrible with the production that we have and the prices, which have not been bad for natural gas, but the production has been horrible. We don't have good prospects between now and 2027. In fact, it's going to worsen. And we need to have a serious conversation about the state of the economy and what are the options for the society at a time when you have spiraling murders and you have people who cannot purchase the food that they need to eat and do not have a sense of peace in their homes in the night because they have to get up in the morning and face the day. So I think we should take all of these things into concern and do it. And you cannot have a situation where the country is fighting with itself. Yeah. Tobago cannot be fighting with central government in Trinidad. Tobago people cannot be struggling just to get goods to eat. They cannot be struggling just to get transportation, to travel, to do the things that they need. And at the same time, people in Trinidad and Tobago cannot be living from day to day, not knowing where the next meal is going to come from. And you have about close to certainly between 25 and 30% of the population living close to the edge in Trinidad and Tobago. And these things have to be taken into account.
Now, Dr. Tiwari, you have certainly laid it out before us, and you've uncomplicated the issue. You have laid it out before us, and certainly food for thought. Now, with all that you've said, you indicated that it is a complicated scenario. Yes. How does this wage increase? Now, you said yes, it is needed. You agree that there should be a wage increase. Do you believe it should happen now? What sort of impact will it have on the business community? You mentioned earlier on the increased cost of living, post-pandemic issues, transportation between Trinidad and Tobago, the cost, the rise in freight charges. How does that then impact the business community that is still trying to survive post-pandemic, having to increase the minimum wage for the employees? They'd have to. How does it work? How will it
Well,
work?
I think businesses have a certain amount of flexibility, and they are really under pressure. I mean, nobody envies a business person in this time because it's very tough. The business environment in Trinidad and Tobago is horrible. I've been trying to register a company for the last 3 months, and it has not been easy. And it still has not been done after 3 months. And so the whole business environment is wrong. Secondly, when you look at the private sector, yes, some of the companies are doing well, they are making big profits, etc. The banks are doing fairly well in terms of profits. But when you look at the productive side of the economy, the manufacturers, the small business sector, when you look at what is happening, you will see that any growth that is taking place is in the services sector, and that is because a lot of people are getting involved in the informal sector. They're becoming vendors, they're becoming sellers of things, etc., trying to make a living. We need to get the productive side going, and the government needs to understand that unless we can get the productive side going, we are not going to get growth. And if we don't get growth, we are not going to get jobs. And if you do not have jobs, you're going to have a problem because you're going to have large numbers of unemployed. The government says that the number of unemployed is under 6%. I mean, nobody in their right mind believes that. The labor participation rate in this country is about 54%. I mean, it is really, it is one of the worst in the world. So, if you don't have an economy that can employ people and can pay them a reasonable wage to live, and you don't have businesses that can make a profit and grow and create more jobs, you're going to have a problem. So the business people, if you raise the minimum wage to $20 or $21 an hour, are going to find it hard to absorb that. But what they are going to do is that they are going to try and either keep their employees as they are, maybe reduce where they can. They're probably not going to employ any new people. They are going to have to tighten their belts in other ways. And unless the government is willing to create a climate in which the business community can thrive, then ultimately that is going to affect jobs, it's going to affect income, and it's going to affect employment and unemployment. So that's why I said, I mean, this is not, I mean, running a country is not something you can do by getting up in the morning and say, well, we have a crisis here, let me fix that. It can't be done like that. I mean, you have to have a holistic view of where your country is, what are the things that are impacting on it, who is it impacting on, what do we need to do to solve the immediate problems, where do we want to go, how do we get there, what are the things that we need to do to get there, who do we bring into the picture and harness in order to get us there, and how do we work together for a common larger good. And all of these things, I think, are missing in the governance approach.
Okay, well, Dr. Tiwari, we've got to leave it there for today, but we want to thank you so much for taking the time. Certainly, we would love to chat with you at another time. Maybe after the budget in October, we'd love to hear from you, after we see what the plans are and
Yes.
whether or not some of these factors were taken into consideration. So thank you so much.
Okay.
A pleasure indeed. And viewers, that was Dr. Bo Tiwari, first time guest with us on the Tobago Updates morning show. Well, viewers, we've got lots more coming up this morning on the program. We're going to take a break. When we come back this morning, Ajay Allen is going to be joining us as we focus on the CBC Community Health Fair and the CBC Lunar Games. So, viewers, share the live, share the live, share the live.
Tobago, get ready to venture into the unknown. Mighty Crush Entertainment presents Dream the Phantasm. Join us on September 30th, 2023 from 11 p.m. to experience your newest reality at the Shore Park Complex, Tobago. And the best part, you can get your tickets now at Lust Restaurant and Lounge, Gulf City Lowlands, Jade Monkey Bar, Pablo's Supermarket, Barcode, Spade, Stumpy Complex Canaan, or online at WeTix.com and IslandEtickets.com. Mighty Crush Hotline 755-7874 on September 30th at the Shore Park Complex, Tobago. Dream the Phantasm.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates morning show. We are chatting at this time with Ajay Allen, Public Relations Officer, Canaan Bonacord, Crown Point Community Council. Very young guy he is. And this morning, viewers, our focus is on the CBC Community Health Fair and the Lunar Games. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Auntie, and good morning to Tobago.
Now, I know some of you out there saying Ajay Allen. You probably know this name, yeah, but always commenting on the live, and really valid contributions at it. So let's start this morning. We've got the community health fair that's coming up, and tell us the purpose. Why now? Why do you feel the need to have this community health fair?
So what had happened to us as a committee early in the year, we started off the year by going to God. I think Ms. Potts was here earlier when we had our community pray. And following that, when we met again as a committee, we found that a number of our villagers were dying of non-communicable diseases and lifestyle diseases. And this is one of our way of telling them, come out and know your numbers. We value you enough to bring these services or to put systems in place where we bring these services to you.
Instead of fighting to get you to the services.
Lovely. So we bring it a lot closer, making it a lot more accessible. So we encourage persons to come out, know your numbers, get the necessary information. Yes, it might be a little challenging or painful to know the truth, but it's better to know and to treat with those problems than having to wait far down the road when it's out of control.
Yeah. I always believe early detection is the best protection. So according to Ajay, when you know your numbers, you know how to move when you got the information. All right, so when is all of this taking place? And you'll give us an idea of some of the services that will be offered on that day.
Okay, so for us, this is what we call our bumper weekend. So it's 2 activities back to back. So the health fair is on Friday from 10 a.m. So we have the usually BMI testing would be done, blood sugar, HIV and AIDS testing. Yes, young people, HIV and AIDS testing.
Still out there. I think, we've shifted so much, Ajay, that we focus so much on the non-communicable diseases. We've shifted and we focus so much on COVID-19 that a lot of people don't realize that HIV and AIDS is still out there.
Yes, so we'll be doing testing in those areas, as well as some of the sexually transmitted diseases, along with the basic services. But I must thank the Tobago Regional Health Authority, when we sent them the email and the interest, they took the opportunity and they ran with it very quickly. And when we felt to pull back or to scale down, they were the ones driving us to continue and to push, as well as Penny Saver Supermarket. They are the flagship sponsor for the health fair. So they came on board, supported us 100%. And surprisingly, a supermarket is supporting health and healthy living. So we must give much commendations to Penny Saver Supermarket for supporting this initiative.
Indeed. I notice here as well that there is going to be mental lectures as well.
Yes.
And tell us about those lectures, because you don't often hear of lectures at a health fair. You hear more about the services, but not so much so the information.
What had happened was during the year, last year, we had a number of suicides in our area, as well as we saw where a number of family members were chopping up and were unfortunately taking the lives of other family members. And it was painful for us as a council to see that happening within our very own community. So to wake up on a Saturday morning, to be seen at Belgrove Hills, couple distance away from your house, was a very, very unsightly thing. So we want to address some of these issues, particularly among the males in our community. So we can ask for them to be a part of these lectures. Nothing is wrong as a man with crying. I'm not saying donkey long tears over, but being able to treat with your emotions and treat with it sufficiently and effectively is critical in this era.
No, I hear what you're saying. You said amongst the males, but we saw quite recently in Trinidad where it was a female, in this case, taking the life of her partner and herself. So it's not only amongst men, but I think people in general not being able to treat with or deal with their emotions. And it's not something we're taught to deal with. You know, we grew up in a society, Ajay, that says if you seek mental health or mental health help or assistance, you're crazy. If you see me coming out of a psychologist or psychiatrist's office, you say, Andrew, you're having some mental, so you're going a little loco. And that's the way we were cultured. Now we realize more and more that there is nothing wrong with having a second person to talk with or a third party to talk with and be able to work through your mental health issues.
I think it's critical. There's a generational shift, and I think we need to understand that. It's no longer the hide or the stay quiet generation. So now we have to seek the assistance. Sometimes the assistance may not come from a quote-unquote professional, but your resources are around you. So you may have a friend who may be seeking advice, and you may not be the person in direct need, but you can go to the session, get the information, and you may be, so that's what's happening to my colleague, or that is why they're not answering my phone calls, and you could be able to trigger some help. Because I will tell my colleagues, before you call me and we have a conversation, then I get a call from the Scarborough, the Crown Point police station or the prisons, and telling me to come and pay your bill. I prefer speak to you before that point in time. Let's have that conversation. Then I have to pay bill money for you. I'm being very straightforward.
This is a nice friend to have. I'm just saying this is a nice friend to have. All right, so tell us when all of this is happening. You said it's a bumper weekend. So we've got this, and there's the other activities.
The Lunar Games. Okay, so most of the persons on this executive, this is our second term in office. And from the beginning, persons were asking, we want a village sports. Well, I am too young to know the details, but there was a sports held before called the Packer Rebels Sports in Canaan Bonaccord. It was a well-known, the Packer Rebels.
Packer Rebels, right.
So I would hear the stories about it and they would tell us. So the president, which is Ms. Corey Roberts Sobers, decided that we have to do something this time. And they had a committee in place to treat with the issue. So they discussed the details of doing it, how it was done yesteryear, as well as doing it now, the course and all of that. And they came to the conclusion that doing it like that in this modern time, it will not be feasible as yet.
Right.
So the conclusion was we would have done the Lunar Games, where we have 8 community teams competing and 1 group from the outside. What they would be doing is we have 17 novelty events. So you will see them doing the different novelty events. And we have 4 public events for the members of the public.
Right.
But what I can tell you though is those novelty events, they are going to be really interesting. I mean, when we met with the teams and the Tobago sports marshals are the one doing the events first. And we discussed how these activities were going to happen. Auntie Ria, I am looking forward to seeing this. I mean, I want to see the walk and wine relay.
Ajay, are you going to be leading the pack here?
No, I'm not going to be leading the pack. I'm going to be there to ensure that event goes smooth and persons have a good time. But I'm also looking forward to the entertainment and to the laughs. I mean, I have seen pensioners speak about this event. It's so enthralling.
What sort of age group are we looking?
I mean, any and everybody we're looking at.
We're going to be looking out for you in a corner, you know.
I mean, you're looking for any and everybody. For me, what was shocking is when we met to begin to get sponsors and that kind of thing. One of the pensioners in the community came and she donated. And she told us she's come and she's looking to be a part of the event because the community needs this. I mean, she donated all sorts of things. Sometimes when we go walking around and checking, she's the one who's going to ask, I'll do this already? Or I'll have that? And this is a retired individual. I wouldn't be surprised if I see her taking home some of the prizes and beating some of the younger folks on Saturday.
So I tell you, viewers, it's going to be quite interesting. And I'll say here, viewers, look out for Ajay. I think he's going to be in that race. Look out for him. Either that he's going to be in a corner laughing at somebody who's walking down there, walking and whining. There you see. All right. Now, is there a cost to the games?
No. There's not a cost, thanks to our sponsors, which I would make mention of shortly.
Yes.
As well as, but we would have food and drink on sale. So we're asking for you guys to come out and support. It's a non-profit organization. So we beg to basically make things happen. And we also dip deeply into our pockets to have these events. So we're asking persons to come out and support a number of food items on sale. And Bonaccord woman could cook. And I know I say, they could really cook.
What is going on with, I tell you, what is going on with Ajay on set this morning? What about the Bonaccord men?
No, well, we can handle ourselves, you know, but we know our place, we know our timing. And don't be surprised if you see some of these guys actually stepping up. You might find me in that area. You may see me in the culinary area.
Okay, well, we will wait and see. But tell us, I mean, this sort of camaraderie amongst the community, what does it mean for the younger ones who are coming up? Not just the health fair and the games, but I'm listening to you speak about, you know, the link with the pensioners and the matured folks, and I'm thinking this is the type of healthy community that reminds us of Tobago.
Yeah, but I think what happened to us, our heritage production over a number of years usually would be it takes a village to raise a child.
And certainly we see that coming forward.
This for me is a continuation of it. And we're trying to get to change the face of how village councils operate. It's typically aged individuals. I know a number of persons may be shocked to see no grey hair and a young man speaking to a village council. But we want to change the dynamics
None
a
at
little
all.
bit. And we want to also encourage young persons to be a little bit more involved in your community. And it's not just about the wine and jam culture. It's not about the partying culture. You know, sometimes you can have good, clean fun, and elders are fun too. Sometimes when you sit and you interact with these elders and they give you some stories, we cannot do the things the way they would do it. And it's not a disconnect. We want to bring it a lot closer, a lot tighter together. We want to get away from this discord and this backward and backward forward. Let's live in love. Let's know our neighbors and check for one another.
All right. So we want to encourage our viewers this morning to head on down on the 22nd.
And the 23rd is
and
back
the 23rd.
to back.
Back to back.
Let me just quickly mention the sponsors if I would be allowed.
And then we wrap.
Yes. We want to say thanks to Assemblyman Sonny Craig, Assemblyman Joel Sampson, Westside Electrical and Plumbing. So guys, you know what to do once in Canaan and you're having electrical issues. Westside Electricals and Plumbing, Toes, Cool Care Center, Milford 24, Charms Way, Miss Sylvia. And you remember I spoke about the food. Miss Sylvia's.
Miss Sylvia's.
Hysteria's Fashion, the Phone Aid, the PNM Tobago Youth League. They will be doing the hydration center for us. So you do not have to worry. Tobago Sports Marshal, Diesel's Tile and Ceiling Center, Apex Bar and Grill, Heavenly Care Home for the Aged. I told you it's all ages. And our goal sponsors for this event, the villagers of Canaan, Bonaccord, and Crown Point.
All right, thank you so much. And certainly it's going to be a packed weekend, Friday and Saturday, 22nd and 23rd. All roads lead to Canaan Bonaccord. And on Sunday, everybody's heading east side. But we're going to talk more about that later on in the week. So Ajay, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Let me just also say shout out to Uncle June. I know he called last night and said, I must give him a shout out this morning.
You better.
So I would do that, as well as the executive of the Village Council, the hard-working executive.
All right. Now, Ajay, I know that you're an avid viewer to the show, so you're going to be taking us with Share the Live in just a little bit. Viewers, coming up after the break, we're going to head on over to Will I Am. And you don't want to miss this because it's all about Fog Angels Carnival Village, Tobago Music Industry, and Isaiah for Tobago Carnival 2023. So, viewers, this is your opportunity to
share the live, share the live, share the live.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Blessings and greetings, viewers, and welcome to Entertainment Central and Tobago Updates, the Carnival edition. So many of you want to know what Entertainment Central is about. It's all about bringing entertainment that is happening in Tobago, and this is the Carnival edition. So Fog Angels and Magdalena have had a collaboration. So we're going to go inside, see what's about, get the behind the scenes footage, bring you the details of what is going on. So it's all about Entertainment Central and Tobago Updates. We're here at Magdalena Grand Beach Resort, and we're here to see Kerry and Avi, and it's all about Fog Angels. So I was home chilling, and a buddy dropped that something's happening at Magdalena today. So I had to come and find out what's going on. So Kerry, what's up, how are things?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Not as fine as you and fine as Avi. Hope things are well at you all.
Yes, it is.
So tell us and our viewers what is happening here today.
Okay, well today, Fog Angels and Magdalena Beach Resort, we are doing our video shoot for our Fog Angels Carnival Village. Right. So Magdalena is the spot where our Fog Angels family, visitors, international and regional and local, if you want to big up yourself and say the Magdalena Grand, right? We are here to show where our costume distribution would be, the check-in experience at Magdalena, right? And all that Fog Angels and Magdalena has to offer our fantastic and beautiful masqueraders.
So what I picked up there is that normally distribution needs to happen at Chill Out Bar.
Yeah.
So this round it's right here.
Well, this round we need to separate it because it is too big, right? Last year,
Explain too big for us, viewers.
Too big for Chill Out Bar, right? Too big for Chill Out Bar venue. All right. So what we have decided to do, and we thought it through, right? To do the distribution for the pretty mask, which is the big feathers and all that fancy thing happening there and here, right?
Nice.
So you would be able to enjoy the ambience that suits that, right? And at Chill Out, for the Juve, for the Bacchanal, for the vibes, right? We keeping the Juve costume distribution at Chill Out Bar.
All right, so break it down for our viewers. Fog Angels Band, what you are offering this year in terms of Juve and Pretty Mass.
All right, so Fog Angels, as you all know, as who would have played with us before, and you with us since day one.
Every year.
We always keep Fog Angels standards, right? We always try to bring in an element of surprise, right? So as usual, we are premium all-inclusive band. So you're getting free drinks, free breakfast, free lunch from us, VIP truck, music trucks, drink trucks, right? It's not truck anymore, it's trucks. It's truck, right? So goodie bags as usual, and lots of goodies in the goodie bags. We love to take care of our masqueraders, be it Juve or mask, we got you covered. Fog Angels, the only band that covering you wholly.
So break down the Juve for us, then break down the Pretty Mass. Yes.
Okay, so Fog Angels has 8 Juve sections this year, but it's a total of 10 costumes. because one costume in particular has 3 different colors, right, to choose from. So if you want something nice and covered, you're a decent person, Fog Angels got you. If you want to be outside, Fog Angels also got you. If you're not the monokini type and you want a t-shirt but you want to design up and to suit your personality, we got you.
All right, okay.
So for mass,
Yes, pretty mass now.
we have 12 sections.
12 sections, wow.
12 sections.
12 sections, wow.
12 sections. And to tell you the honest truth, I don't even know what section I'm playing in as yet.
The 12 sections, what are the names of these sections and the inspiration behind these sections?
Well, the theme this year is Turn It Up, right? So Turn It Up is not something you could just box in and create a little, you know, it makes the mind wonder what's turn it up in what way. So we give the designers the freedom to turn it up how they see fit, right? So we have sections like engine room, like yourself, like mist, like mambo, like chant, glitz, you know, everything that would make you feel, you know, it pop in. We have jam, you know, so each section gives you a different vibe and personality as well.
All right, nice. I like it.
And just like Juve, if you don't want all your stuff outside, we have you covered. If you want all your stuff outside, we have you covered.
Yeah, that also too.
Yes.
So you have the eye candy and after you have the...
Yes.
All right, cool. So this year we have a little change in the carnival, second year. Everything is in Scarborough.
Yeah.
So how you all feel about that? Everything being centralized?
Well, to be honest, Fog Angels as a band, right, as the band leaders and being on the committee, it doesn't affect us personally, right? Because Tobago, we love Tobago, Scarborough, Crown Point is all the same, right? But we as a band as a whole, we're just here to ensure and facilitate and make sure Tobago Carnival is successful.
It's all about Tobago
and
having a successful carnival and portraying that also too. So any other surprises that Fog Angels has for us?
It's a surprise, Nana.
Never a sneak peek?
No.
Any artists on the road, any celebrities with you all?
A nice one.
Who you all had last year? We had a bunch of people last year.
Last year we had Young Brother and Aaron Duncan and a few. Iowa George was with us on
the Juve shop here.
Yeah, we have a few.
So you're keeping it real tight-lid. We don't know what happening this year at all.
So let me tell you this. Once you're in the band, you know it's a surprise.
Well.
So if you want to know what surprises we have, and let me tell you, you don't want to hear it from a friend. You don't want to hear from a friend, you know Fog Angels had so and so to say, right? You don't want to miss that experience.
So how has the response been so far? I know you have been doing a lot of promotion online, through socials and stuff like that. And I think earlier you told me when we were inside the cool room, but trust me people, it's hot. Today it's hot.
Very hot.
You need to hydrate. You got a lot of responses, but the connectivity between the two islands. But how the response has been for?
So the general response has been when we launched on August the 4th, 2nd or 4th, the response was overwhelming. We had people calling, people excited. You know, people want to make sure they secure their spot before their section is sold out. We have a lot from constant, from August to present, a lot of international guests booking day by day by day. All right?
That's good.
It's really good.
That's good.
So we have local and trainees. They are also registering as well. However, when the boat tickets launched last week, our website sales started to go up again with the trainees. So people are locked, people are waiting, people have been waiting to hear when the boat tickets would be out, right? And we're still trying to facilitate our masqueraders as much as we can do to make sure that they can come to the island and return home safely and in time for work on Tuesday. I say Tuesday. I say Tuesday because Fog Angels will be hosting their very first beach cool down called Clock Out at the Magdalena Grand Beach on the outside, and it's going to be
wow.
It's going to be fun because it's a fun day.
Oh, wow. So we're not going to work on Monday.
No.
Who goes to work on a Monday?
Nobody.
Who goes to work on a Monday?
Nobody.
All right, thank you very much. So I'm gonna put you on the spot because we did do some giveaways.
Yeah.
We did give some giveaways to our viewers or loyal viewers.
Yes, I have no problem.
Understand? So what could we give them?
The first person to give us the correct location of Magdalena Grand will win a costume.
Costume for a couple or just one costume?
A costume for a couple for Juve.
For Juve?
Yeah.
All right, so just give us a location.
And if they could give us a brief history about Magdalena Grand, they'll get 50% of their mask costume. For the girls and them who needs to get their glam, Fog Angels have that as well. I forget to throw that in, right? So we have Carnival Glam Hub on board with us. They are the best in the Caribbean. And we have Sasha Cosmetics product on board with us, right? So if you need to get your face glammed up, if you choose to stay at Magdalena Grand, let me tell you what is going to happen. When you come to Magdalena and check in, you're going to get your welcome drink. They're going to take you over to the costume distribution center where you're going to collect your costume. You're then going to go to your room where you have concierge take you to your room, check you in your room, your suite, whichever beachfront, whatever you want. When it is time for you to get your makeup done, you just come downstairs, beat your face, go back upstairs, dress, and we have a shuttle service at Magdalena taking you from the hotel to the road and back. So if you want to choose to stay at Magdalena Grand Beach Resort, we got you.
What is there else for me to say? But thank you.
You are welcome.
Thank you, and see you on the road on the 27th to the 29th of Tobago Carnival.
And remember, it's Saturday and Sunday, not Monday and Tuesday.
Yes, Saturday and
Saturday, Sunday, Monday for Fog Angels.
All right, so thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It is to be able to get a taste of what the working world feels like, especially in an area that your heart desires. Well, for these youngsters, they got an opportunity to do just that through the Division of Community Development, Youth Development and Sport World of Work program, which enabled them with various tools to help them to navigate their environment. At the end of the program, these participants received their certificates of participation.
The 2-week session covered training in areas such as resume writing and interview skills, public speaking and communication skills, dress code, social media management, personal and professional branding, customer service, networking and employer-employee engagement, conflict resolution and managing conflict, time management and leadership, office and dining etiquette, financial management and investment, career planning, and youth development and youth service. We would have also incorporated a new initiative we started just about 3 years ago, recognizing the need for our young persons to be exposed to a greater level of understanding and knowing about Tobago.
Participants share their experience and are also lending some encouragement to their peers.
And my experience at the Will of Work program was definitely wonderful. It just changed me so much. It made me ready to accomplish my goals.
Experience in the Will of Work program was amazing. I mean, I was placed in Tobago Updates, a place that I wanted to actually be a part of. I actually wanted to take my career into media, so that was really great that I had an experience like that. Everything was well planned out here at the Will of Work program. The free food is amazing. I definitely recommend you guys advised to come out next year and apply.
I was placed at Tobago Updates. Now, the experience was very, very nice. I really liked everything they taught me. It wasn't really anything I expected, to be very honest. I had no idea about what went on in the media world and all this kind of stuff, but I learned fast and I did well in working there. Now, this was all because of the World of Work program. Now,
From the inception of the program in 2009, the division's mandate is to create opportunities for our young persons to thrive in today's society.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
So your car break down
Oh, no, not again.
and you're worried paying a wrecker could mean a pocket breakdown too. But when you're insured with Tatil, no stress.
Yes!
A Tatil motor policy has lots of benefits that protect your pocket, like free roadside assistance. That's free 24/7 every time, as many times as you need. Tatil, where people are people. A member of the Ansa McCall Group.
Mount Pleasant Credit Union Back to School Loan Promotion. Loans up to 15,000. Requirements: job letter and a payslip no more than 1 month old. Utility bill, copy of book list, salary deduction, 10% down payment. For self-employed persons, evidence of income and expenditure, bank statement, 12 to 18 months. Other supporting document. Promotion ends October 18. Contact us at 639-8375 or 8108 or check us out on www.mpcutobago.com or email us at loan@mpcutobago.com. Mount Pleasant Credit Union's Back to School Loan Promotion.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denicia. Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine, I am Candace Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds.
The news in 90 seconds is brought to you by Flow, working for you on Tobago's newest fiber network.
The Cabo Star is now recertified and fully prepared for its sailing. In a late-night update from the Port Authority, it was confirmed that the MV Cabo Star was successfully undergone inspection and received certification for safe operation. Consequently, the vessel is scheduled to set sail at 2 p.m. tomorrow. On today. The return journey will commence from Scarborough at 11 p.m. on the same night. Repairs on the vessel were completed and reported yesterday. On August 23rd, a fire had broken out on board the vessel shortly after its departure from Scarborough at 11:23 p.m. The Port Authority of Trinidad and Tobago stated that the fire had originated in the engine room but was swiftly isolated and extinguished by the ship's crew. Meanwhile, amid Christmas stock concerns, the business community seeks discussions with the finance minister, Imbert, on reduced foreign exchange. Republic Bank cut its U.S. dollar credit card limit from U.S. $10,000 to U.S. $5,000 effective September 21st. Minister Imbert will meet with central bank, commercial banks, and businesses to address the increased foreign exchange demand. Though 2023's foreign exchange availability matches last year's, rising demand has attributed to online shopping and imported inflation. Some businesses question higher demand given long-standing credit limits. So small businesses reliant on holiday imports worry about the limit cuts' impact. Reports suggest reduced U.S. currency releases to the bank and lower returns in energy sector affecting foreign exchange circulation. And finally, former police commissioner, and National Transformation Alliance leader Gary Griffith has expressed concerns that Trinidad and Tobago is moving towards a police state. This comes after a recent judgment favored Griffith, blocking the Financial Investigative Unit from accessing his and his wife's bank accounts. Griffith and his wife challenged the legality of the FIU's request for information from financial institutions, suspecting an illegitimate use of state power to tarnish his reputation. Griffith believes this abuse of power could target anyone, eroding democracy and moving the nation towards a dictatorship. And that concludes your news in 90 seconds.
Tobago, after freeness is more speed and better TV. Get a free Samsung smartphone and free installation, plus 200 megabits per second, Paramount Plus, and more for only $299 with a select 200 plan from Flow. Visit online at discoverflow.co today.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Update, viewers. We are now being joined by Mr. Anselm Richards, who is an economist but also the technical advisor to the Chief Secretary in the Division of Finance, Trade and the Economy. Good morning and welcome to you, sir. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine. Good morning to you. Good morning to Tobago. Good morning to the world wherever I need you. I'm fine. I'm happy to be here.
Great. So we have so many things happening within our economy at this point in time. We have Budget Day announced for October 2nd. It was announced yesterday by the Finance Minister. We have these reports coming from the banks, Republic Bank in particular, reducing the spending limits for U.S. currency, for credit cards and VTM cards and so on. I mean, and of course, you have the challenges in getting goods across to not just Tobago, but to Trinidad and Tobago as a whole, getting the goods cleared on time at the ports as well, through customs and immigration. We have a whole lot affecting the business sector at this point in time. So I'm going to get, I guess, an overall perspective from you on just putting all these things into context.
Okay, so first let us deal with the reported foreign exchange shortage. That's no secret. That has always been a factor, a character for our forex market. We have a managed float system, meaning that the system is not fixed. It's not a fixed exchange rate like Barbados have $2 Barbadian to the $1 US. We have a floating forex rate, but it is managed, meaning that the government holds it at a certain rate, probably 6.20% thereabout, and it floats between that and about 30 or 50, 650 thereabout. So the central bank releases foreign exchange in the market when the demand goes up to bring the rate down to keep it within that band. So we have that problem, and our major problem has been the decline in our fortunes from our exports in the energy sector. So we have that challenge. It's a structural issue that we need to attend to at the national level, and that has to deal with the diversification of the national economy to create new foreign exchange income earning sources so that we can boost the foreign exchange earning of the country. Tourism, Tobago offer a healthy option, a very, very healthy option. Barbados is a tourism-driven economy. We are not hearing those kinds of reports coming out of Barbados. You go to Antigua, you can withdraw US currency from an ATM machine. So we as a country need to understand that if we have a destination like Tobago, if we do the kinds of investment to build Tobago in the kind of tourism destination it can be, and bring the kind of visitors to this island, then it contributes to the to solving our forex problem. So that is on the foreign exchange side. We have some structural issues in terms of the economy. And Trinidad and Tobago, we have to look at what we are doing internally, because the issue of transportation of goods and the foreign exchange shortage, all of that ties into global inflation, cost of living, the impact it is having on the vulnerable in the society. So we live in this world that is digital, that is fluid, with many moving parts, with a lot of touch points across the system.
Yes.
And therefore, we have to look at it in the holistic way of refining the system, to put in the kinds of protection that is necessary to ensure that when there are movements in the international economy, we have the protective system within our economy to respond to those changes. We have the political environment, and the political economy is another issue. The conversation between Trinidad and Tobago is something that we need to manage at a particular level. That is something that we need to pay some attention to. Yeah, the budget, we will see how that conversation reflects itself in the budget statement.
Certainly. So I want to stay a little bit for this part of the conversation on the foreign exchange issue that we have right now. Now, over the past few years, as our energy revenues dropped, whether it be because of global factors, the drop in oil prices globally and so on, or a drop in production, we continue to be reliant on the energy sector for the bulk of our foreign exchange. And no matter how many people, how many voices within our society talk about the need for developing other sectors, tourism, whatever it be, there seems to be that reluctance. But yet, we're in a situation where we have to control the foreignex that is available to our population.
Well, you see, change is a difficult experience for some people. And you have an economy that has been built and structured along the energy sector, right? We see with the whole climate emergency and the shift away from fossil fuel in terms of the main source of energy. That alone is a conversation that speaks to the fact that you need to diversify against energy, because the demands for energy will be going in south, and then there will be a new north coming in terms of economic activity for new sources of energy, renewable energy. You see about electric vehicles and all of that. So the demand for gas will go down, and therefore those movements, we have to timely monitor them and make the kind of strategic investment to shift the structure of the economy to respond to those growing markets. So we have not done that well. You listen to the Prime Minister at the end of the cabinet retreat, and he still comes to the nation and say, we talk about diversification, but at the end of the day, the fortunes of the country still rest heavily on the energy sector. But what are you doing? If you look at what they are doing in Guyana, you will see a different conversation, and probably Guyana have learned from the mistakes of Trinidad and Tobago. They are harvesting their energy resources, but they are diversifying the economy rapidly. The reports are that Guyana grew by over 100 and something % last year. I know if you're coming from a very low position, a small growth, a lot.
And then as you touch on Guyana, because one thing that's interesting that that they've been doing, so they're hosting the CPL finals this year. But they started this last year where they twinned the hosting of CPL with their carnival. So it encouraged more people to stay. That's more forex within the country and so on, and more contribution to the economy.
Well, Guyana, quote unquote, now in terms of foreign exchange earnings, US dollars, Guyana is the center we can call the Federal Reserve for the Caribbean. Guyana is experiencing unprecedented revenues from oil and gas. And therefore, Guyana has the resources to do the kinds of things that we see is happening in that space. And fortunate for them, they are coming at a time in the energy sector that has a lot of history that they can take note of and don't make the kinds of mistakes that we would have made in Trinidad and Tobago, depending exclusively on the energy sector, using the money and not recognizing that that is a depleting and unrenewing resource, and they have not built other sectors, so that when that goes down, these sectors are up and can power the economy. And that's why we are facing the kind of forex challenges we are facing in the country. So we have not strategically married the options that we have across the economy as a whole.
So looking ahead to the budget coming up in a few weeks' time, I mean, are you hopeful at all that, the budget would reflect that drive or an attempt to diversify in any sort of a meaningful way? Or is it just going to be just a talk?
Well, if I should use the message from the Prime Minister, the last conversation he had in terms of the news conference with the national community, if you should take that as a point of inflection for what will likely happen with the budget, then the budget will be heavily reliant on the energy sector. Again, there will be a conversation around the need for diversification, but we have been having that conversation for over 40 years in this country, and we have not seen any affirmative action that speaks that the government is committed to move in that direction. Tobago have been crying out and saying, I'm a virgin destination. Look me here, invest in me. I will bring all the men who are looking for a virgin destination to your island, and they will come with their wallets, they will come with their credit cards and so forth. Even more than that, we are in this climate crisis globally. There's a new emerging sector in the tourism industry where they speak about green visitors who are looking for these green destinations. And Tobago presents a very viable option where that is concerned. So we can now package Tobago as the green island of festival, call it what you want, and market. We have the oldest rainforest in the Western Hemisphere. Trinidad and Tobago can sit at the table and really develop it. Trinidad has to make the investment. Tobago don't have the kind of resources unless we bring in the foreign exchange. But the government of Trinidad and Tobago has to set the tone and say, well, look, we recognize that we have a gem here in the Caribbean. We can monetize this gem. We are going to make the investment. We are going to put in the infrastructure. And we are going to put Tobago where it should be in terms of global tourism. I know they made one attempt with the Sanders project. I don't know if that was the best approach.
But that was one attempt.
One attempt. I don't know if that was the best strategy to go. But there's a bigger conversation that we need to have as a nation around how we are going to diversify this economy. Tobago presents a very viable and immediate option to the country to start that diversification.
Certainly. So we were going to take a pause, have a pause in this conversation. We're just going to take a quick break and we'll be back, but we'll be continuing talking about the foreign exchange situation and some situations that's going on within our place here in the economy. So don't go anywhere.
Thanks a favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000.
Tobago, get ready to venture into the unknown. Mighty Crush Entertainment presents Dream the Phantasm. Join us on September 30th, 2023 from 11 p.m. to experience your newest reality at the Shore Park Complex, Tobago. And the best part, you can get your tickets now at Lust Restaurant and Lounge, Gulf City Lowlands, Jade Monkey Bar, Pablo's Supermarket, Barcode, Spade, Stumpy Complex Canaan, or online at etix.com and islandetickets.com. Mighty Crush Hotline 755-7874 on September 30th at the Shore Park Complex, Tobago. Dream the Phantasm.
Right now, Tobagonians are just currying down to Bonaccord, right in Stobie Local Road. You know why? To come down and shop at Authentic Builders General Hardware, the only hardware store in Tobago that is giving you guys Trinidad prices. So for instance, such as steel, 1/2 inch and 5/8, $7,895. 5/8 construction ply for $260. Every single thing that
this is your birthday
you will need to do your home renovation or start your new construction. We have it right here, and to get your quotation it's very easy. Just WhatsApp us at 272-1990 and we will do your free WhatsApp quotation for you.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival fever. Okay, passage and come on over. Coconut
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, buljoil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meats served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denise.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, we are continuing our conversations this morning with Mr. Anselm Richards, who is an economist within our space, but also the technical advisor to the Chief Secretary, especially out of the Division of Finance, Trade, and the Economy. Now, before we went to the break, we were speaking a little bit about the foreign exchange problem. And as you may have known by now, that Republic Bank Limited has reduced the spending limit on its credit cards from for US dollars for for transactions, in other currencies, whether it be US or any other currency. So it's the equivalent goes from $10,000 and it's now down to $5,000
per month.
Per month. No, this is becoming a problem. It is expected that other banks might impose similar restrictions or similar reductions. Republic Bank might just be the first one, but this is going to have a massive effect on the small and medium-sized businesses.
Definitely, because of the structure of the economy, as we said before, most of what we consume and produce is either we consume it for consumption or we import it on the other end for consumption in the production process. So because of that very nature, there's a high importation factor in the structure of the economy that requires us to have that kind of access to foreign reserve to pay for those imports. The foreign reserve earnings of the country is linked directly to our oil and gas sector. Our production levels have been very, very low, historically low, and the prices have fell significantly in the last probably year. Yes. If you recall last year, the Minister of Finance projected the budget was predicated against an oil price of over $100. I think it was $116 US. Currently, the oil prices are hovering around $80 per barrel. That's that's $36 US on every barrel if we do that straight line calculation. So we have those structural issues in the economy. And the solution to that is that we have to sit down as a nation. We have to make the investment. We have to do the technical work and the analysis to see the sectors that offer themselves to improve and impact our foreign earning capabilities. And as I said before, if you look at some of the tourism destinations that have recovered rapidly from the 2020 COVID-induced reduction in terms of visitors' arrival, you go to, they are not really having this foreign exchange challenges that Trinidad and Tobago is having. As I said before, you go to Antigua, you can push your credit card in the ATM and you can withdraw US dollars, EC dollars. So it means therefore there's that level of liquidity in terms of foreign exchange in the system or in the economy of those countries. Guyana is a case by itself. We can't speak to Guyana. Their earnings from oil and gas is out of the space that we are speaking to. So put that aside, we can't speak to that in relation to this. You go to Barbados, yes, Barbados have its own fiscal challenges, but they are not being, affected in the way we are affected.
But even when you look at the way how Barbados handles their economy and things like that, they're always looking at other ways to develop their banking sector, even if it is to consider cryptocurrency and all those things like that as well.
It speaks to leadership and the kind of visionary leadership that is really leading Barbados. When you look at the leadership in Barbados, and not only the Prime Minister, but the persons around the prime minister, because sometimes they speak through the prime minister because of the kind of technical information you're going. You're saying that Barbados is doing something right because they are investing in human capital, they are investing in science and technology and research. So when the prime minister comes out to speak on an issue, she's well researched, she's well informed, and she can deliver. Yes. But when you come home, you see it's a bravado talk, it's a old talk, it's a blood politics conversation that is continuously impacting the way we develop this country. And therefore, if we don't change the nature of our politics and how we bring people to the table and how we co-create solutions to our problem, we are going to be speaking to this issue, and probably our next generation will be speaking to these issues that we have been speaking to for over 3 generations.
Yes. And you know, it's funny that we are not talking about reducing our reliance on the energy sector when our Prime Minister is at this time attending UN conferences and they're speaking towards the Sustainable Development Goals, which speak to reducing our reliance on fossil fuels.
Yeah. I don't know, have we as a country set targets in terms of our energy transition? That is one of the ways that will demonstrate to the world and to the nation that we are really looking at this energy sector in a very structured and organized way. Have we set targets to say, well, okay, by 2050, we are going to, combustion engines going to be reduced by 40% in this country and we're going to switch over to electric vehicle? Have we said, okay, our new power plants will be renewable energy, solar, and so forth, or by 2050 we are going to produce 50% or 20% of our energy consumption will be from renewable energy? Are we having those kind of deep conversations that will set up the country for that energy transition into those new areas that we need to be investing in? Are we doing that? Are we hearing those conversations? Or are we hearing oil and gas and who over the Caroni Bridge and who under the Caroni Bridge and who in Scarborough and who in Port of Spain? We can't develop that way. No. We have to do the work, we have to have the conversation, and there will be disagreement. You have disagreement in your home. You and your husband or your significant other don't always agree and see eye and eye on every issue, but there's a way to resolve the differences.
Now, coming back down to this foreign exchange issue that is so crucial to the way that we operate here within our society, especially for Tobago, because Tobago is largely micro, small, medium-sized businesses. We don't have the large conglomerates here. But when you reduce the spending limit on credit cards, which is what a lot of business people use to purchase their goods and services, and let's be real, just the economy, the way our economies of scale does not allow us to produce things, not even computers and so on. It limits the people who are importing, let's say, phones to sell. How much can they purchase a month?
So here that happens. Here's the impact of that. So you reduce the formal access to foreign exchange. There's a black market arrangement where people selling foreign US dollars now for over $8 for one. You know what is the impact of that? So if you pay more for the foreign exchange, who carrying that cost? The consumer.
Consumer carries cost.
So cost of living going up. We already have a food price. We have an inflationary constraint and an inflationary structural issue in the economy because of imported inflation. You have reduced the access to foreign currency. People have to access it in the black market, pay a higher price. So you're adding to the imported inflation because there's a black market factor now that is adding to the inflationary equation. So at the end of the day, it's the man and woman on the street who have to buy these consumables will be paying a very higher price, deflating their ability to take care of their family. That's why I said we're living in a very, very fluid and a world, what we call a world of intersectionality with touch points across every system. So if you feel you're doing something and it does not affect you here, you need to think again. You need to look at the whole system and see where the parts are touching each other. Because you make a decision here, it affects you quite down the road. And that is how you run a country. That's how we manage an economic space. That is how you manage development.
And what about how does customs and immigration also factor into this? I mean, look, you're already limited in what you can bring in, but when you bring it in, it takes so long to clear. By the time you clear it, you already have a high bill to clear it.
Well, you see, we are running the public service, and this is not about public servants. The administrative structure of the public service is not currently is not designed, and it is not appropriate to support any modern form of government operation. That's the bottom line in this country, and that's the institutional crisis that we face in this country. For instance, you have a custom, which is a national entity, You have an importer in Tobago importing goods, right? His goods are here, bam, bam, bam. His documents are here, right? He cannot pay. He cannot even pay online for his money, for his goods from Tobago. He has to go to Trinidad with his bill of lading, bam, to clear goods. This is 2023. You're talking about a digital world. If all things should be online.
Yes.
You go online and you pay. Why it is I have to go to license office to renew my license, my driver's permit? Why I can't go online, take a picture of my face? They have all my information there. They run it against the database. Bam, that's the man. Bam. I have a temporary license. Either the email renewal. Bam, I print it out. Police reach me in the street. There's my thing. I collect my hard copy, if you want to that, in the mail, or I go and collect it in 3 days by license office. We have to build systems. We have to build structures. We have to re-engineer new processes because, as I said, the world is fluid. It is changing rapidly. And if we don't respond to those changes, we are going to be in the position that we are in because we are not responding to the changing environment.
Now, I also want to pose this question in terms of the business community because, I mean, this is the heart of our economy right now in Tobago. How can our business community grow? Our small business business people, the ones with the little shops, the ones that are just trying to do this little sales and things like that, just to try to make it by at the end of the month. How are they now, with all of these complications, expected to grow and develop how are we supposed to develop a robust private when all of these things are working against us?
Well, here's my argument on that, or here's my discussion or my thesis on that.
Okay.
Now, size for me in the world that we live in is not a constraint, right? So you have physical shops and you have global shops in the same physical space using technology. So the market for a small Tobago business using technology is no longer the 60,000 people in Tobago, because you can put your small Tobago physical shop online and you can create a larger market for your product. There are shipping agencies that can ship your... So we have to see business in a different light. And that is the kind of conversation our leaders need to have with our people. We have to see this place in a different light. Yes, there will be structural issues in terms of size and things, but if our business people start thinking in that way, and they start designing and shaping and reorganizing the business in that way, the issue of size and constraint will disappear over time. Yes, immediately it is there. But if you start building your business around that kind of virtual concept and recognize that your market is now the world, and you create arrangement and relationship with other people, you ship your product out, you can have a very small, intimate, indigenous business in Tobago and doing huge business in the world. You don't have to be in China to impact China. You don't have to be in Russia to impact Russia. I'm sure people in those parts of the world are listening to this conversation now, and you are not there. I am not there.
I also want to ask you now, the Minister of Finance gave us commitment to, speaking with the business community, the central bank, to coming up with a solution for this foreign exchange challenge that we're having. But this challenge is not a new one. This has been something that's been happening since 2017, where you would go to the bank just for simple US to travel, and you can't even get sometimes more than 100 US to travel at a time, right? Do you think the minister will actually do something about this foreign exchange problem that we have and making it available to the banks?
Do you think he has the capacity to do anything?
It's not for me to say,
let me just put it in simple
I'm putting it to you, the experts.
The talk is nice, but here's the thing. Look at this foreign exchange thing in a simple way. You have 2 barrels, one here, one here. So this is the barrel of foreign exchange that the central bank owns, the country owns here, right? And this barrel is 5 meters. And then this is the demand out here, which is coming from the country for foreign exchange, and this barrel is 100 meters. If you don't grow this to 120 meters or 100 meters to satisfy that, what else do you have? And the growth in this has to do with how we diversify. Because what we are owning here at this 5 meters in foreign exchange is what the oil and gas sector provides. And then you have multiple other sectors outside the gas sector, the manufacturing sector, the commercial sector, business, trade, that. demanding all of that from this small sector that is producing only 5 meters, but you have multiple other sectors that is demanding 100 meters. So to fix this problem, we have to grow this barrel to at least 100 meters so we break even. And the strategy has to go about 200 meters so we have a reserve. So we have 10 years of foreign exchange cover. That, I don't know if the minister is in any position to grow that in this budget.
Because it requires investment.
It requires investment and it requires restructuring of the economy. That's the simplest way to put this problem. But they will have the conversation and they will continue to talk, but then it's action beat old talk all the time. And these are simple problems. You know, these are cash flow issues. These are basic business issues, cash flow management. And the reason why they are restricting it is because they don't have enough, so they have to manage the cash flow out. Cash in, cash out. So the banks are saying, our resources are limited. We have to manage the outflow because the inflows are low. So we have to manage the outflow, which is the amount the credit card can use. So they restrict it by half because we have to manage the outflow, cash flow management. Simple economics.
All right, well, we're going to take another pause there and we're going to go for a break. But when we come back, we'll continue with the conversation with Mr. Richards. Don't go anywhere.
The energy fill the skies. I say, thanks for
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Bonaccord Crown Point Electoral District. It's your turn. The THA Executive Council is coming to meet with you as we continue our District Town Hall meeting series.
Canaan, Bonaccord and environs come out that we can know definitely what is happening in our community.
Make sure you all come out and air all your views.
We invite you to come out in your numbers at the Canaan Bonaccord Community Center on Tuesday, 26 September at 6:30 p.m. as the Executive Council members give updates on existing and upcoming programs and projects. You also get the opportunity to share your concerns and ask questions. So, join us from 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, 26 September at the Canaan Bonaccord Community Center for the Executive Council's District Town Hall meeting. People of Bonaccord, including Bonaccord Development, Milford Court, Crown Point, and Storby Local Road. This meeting is for you. Remember, your voice matters.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, we are continuing our conversation this morning with Mr. Anselm Richards, who is an economist within our space and also the technical advisor to the Chief Secretary out of the Division of Finance, Trade and the Economy. Now, we spent quite a bit of time talking about Forex and the challenges that we are having right now with foreign exchange availability within the country. And like I said, this is something that's been happening for quite some time. Started with the reduction in oil prices globally and coupled with the reduction in what we produce. Because we are at the very lowest that we've ever been at in terms of what we produce for oil and gas within our country. Now, looking ahead, we have the budget coming up in October 2nd. And the THA presented a budget of, what was it? It was like 4.3
Let me give you the figures.
billion, right? So I had the figures in front of me, but they disappeared from me in front of me.
The technology operates.
Yes, but You know, that budget was predicated on an estimated 6.9% share of the national budget.
Yes. So.
And the question goes again, what happens if we don't get that? Because the history has shown we have never gotten that much percentage of the national budget share. And from what the Prime Minister said on Thursday as well, he indicated there would be some reductions and some changes coming that people might not like, which is why he put an emphasis on before the budget, there's going to be a spotlight on the economy. So he's going to like set things up so that the public is aware and then sort of, I guess, drop the bomb on everybody.
Okay, so we at the Tobago Assembly, the Chief Secretary and Secretary of Finance, Trade and the Economy would have presented the Tobago draft estimates. And we would have asked for $4.5 billion for fiscal 2024. That was broken out in $3.3 billion for the recurrent expenditure and $1.5 billion for development expenditure, $1.15 billion. And we asked for $92.07 million for URP and $44.77 million for CPEP, right? That was predicated against a projected national budget of $65.7 billion. And we asked based on our projection, and we did a very precise projection last year. The minister really asked if we had Oberman in the Division of Finance, but it's not Oberman, it's just good economists who understand how to do forecasting. So we continue to move our demands to the upper end of the DRC recommendation, which is 6.9%. That works out to $6.90 out of every $100 that the government proposes to spend in this budget. I think that is a fair ask. We have plenty of development work to do in Tobago. Our development have been stymied over the years because of low resource flow into the island. We are saying that we have developed a comprehensive work program. This is the required funding to execute that program in fiscal 2024. That's the ask. We know that the country, even in our calculation, Dr. Hazel and myself, when we did the forecast and we see the numbers, we thought that it was a bit, given where the oil price was trending, it would be a bit challenging for the national economy to probably come in with a budget of $65.7 billion. But that is what the numbers turn out. And when we do our internal recalibration, we recognize that there was very little fiscal room for us to make the adjustment based on what the Chief Secretary and the Secretary of Finance and the Executive Council had proposed they wanted to deliver to the people of Tobago for fiscal 2024. So then we retain the projections and we retain the ask for 6.9%, and the numbers, as I shared, are what we are asking for. Yes, there are challenges in the national economy. We recognize that. We are saying that our 6.9% will be predicated against whatever the Minister of Finance and the Central Command decide that is the available amount of money for the country to spend. It's 6.9%. If they say they have $100, give us $6.90. We will do our business in Tobago. We'll make the adjustment because that will have an impact on the overall 4.5 billion that Tobago is asking for because it is predicated on a global figure. So we are at that place in Tobago. The national economy has some challenges while we are recovering from the COVID impacts on the economy. There are some challenges. One of them is we're still heavily dependent, and we spoke to that all morning, on the oil sector. And the numbers and the global price for oil is not really as high as, it's not favorable for us. And therefore, we expect that there will have to be some adjustment because we have, as I said, cash in, cash out. The minister can only spend what is available. And the Prime Minister also signaled that there will be another deficit budget. It means therefore the expenditure will be more than our revenue, right? And that signal that our revenue income or revenue intakes or income are low based on the projected expenditure. And therefore, we are prepared to look at what the adjustments are likely to be. When the numbers are presented, we will do the analysis against what we would have done for Tobago vis-a-vis the national economy, and then we will have the conversation with the people of Tobago as to what we can do, what we can't do, and whether we were treated fairly. That has to be part of the conversation when we look at the overall pie, how the pie was cut. So we will look at that and we will have a very honest, we will use the data to inform the conversation. This wouldn't be on feelings. We will tell you, look at the numbers. This was the size of the pie. They give us what? They normally give us $4.03.
Yes. No, I mean, taking all those things into context, and then even speaking to some challenges that the business sector is facing. And this is a repeated call from them, and this has to do with outstanding payments that predates the current administration. A lot of it predates the current administration, late payments, which is affecting the cash flow of a lot of businesses, which is in turn affecting the way that they can conduct business within the space. And, in a way, it is causing a weakening of the private sector. What's the strategy in terms of dealing with that on a serious level? Because, I mean, I understand that you can't pay everything all at once because you only have this much, but how are we really going to be treating with the business community?
Well, let me speak to that. And I think I've said it repeatedly on this platform and other platform of this nature. When we came into office, we inherited, and the Chief Secretary came probably at the end of January in that year and gave a financial position of the THA as he received it. And the liabilities of the THA at that time was over $700 million. And that did not include the $165 million bond financing. You are faced annually with a development program of $300 million. It means if you have to pay that, you can't do no current work.
Yes.
So you will spend 2 years or 2.5 years of your 4-year term just paying bills, and you can deliver. Your car fix a road, your car build a retaining wall back by the house that the woman went on side come down, your car fix bad rack, you can't patch no pothole because you're just paying that. For me, that does not make any political sense or strategy for any administration, because you will just be servicing the debt of the last administration. While government is a continuous process and you have to take over the liability of the previous administration. But in the context of Tobago, that has a small pool of funds for development works, and look at the state of our aging public infrastructure, it is difficult, challenging. We have had conversation with the central government. We have presented the case and the numbers to the central government. We have said to them, whether the PDP had won this election or the PNM had retained office, there was no way any government in Tobago could have paid off these liabilities without significant cash injection from Port of Spain. And this has to be a special arrangement, a special program. We have had this conversation on numerous occasions with the Ministry of Finance. Whether they are going to give us $100 million a year for the next 6 years to pay off these liabilities, whether they are going to give us $200 million based on what is available, we have had the conversation. Only once they have responded, and the Chief Secretary, the information is in the public space, they have given us $100 million this fiscal year to pay some contractors. There's no way. And that's just the reality. It is not that this administration has a barrel of money there that was set aside to pay the contractors, and they say we wicked way in paying them because they worked for the last administration and I will not pay them. It's nothing like that. It is just that the resources are not available. You are given $300 million a year to do all the road fixing, fix schools, repair school, fix the bridge on them. We know the destruction that the weather had on our road infrastructure at the end of last year. You have all those things, and we look at the terrain of Tobago. We are prone to land slippage. The maintenance and upgrading of our public road infrastructure is a very expensive exercise because of the way the island topography is designed and the way our roads are winding along the coastal edge, the coastline of the island. So we have those internal structural challenges, but we are being continuously underfunded.
But is there any sort of strategy to even develop a payment plan? Because
we have developed a payment plan. Remember too that we have found a number of discrepancy in the claims of some of the contractors coming up from the forensic audit, and that is still ongoing. Right? We have found that. So the situation is not as pure and virgin as some contractors are making out to be. They have been over-invoicing, double invoicing for work that was not done, and a whole heap of issues that needs to be cleaned up in a public sector settings. Because one of the things in the public service, and contractors must take note of this, you cannot pay an invoice unless it is verified. There's a completion certificate, it is verified that the work is done. That is when you get pay, because that is what is required by the Public Service Financial Regulation of 1965. I know we are not living in 1965, but that is the law. That is the regulation. So what has happened? We have a number of invoices. no completion certificate, no verification that the work was done. As a matter of fact, there are invoices for works that were never done, that were submitted for payment. And there are contractors who have been paid for works that were never done, which is a matter for the fourth court to be investigating. Because we have to put a stop to this thing, you know. Contractors who have been stealing from the people of Tobago need to face the brunt of the law. I make no excuse for saying that. There have been contractors in this space who have taken Tobago monies, millions of dollars, for doing absolutely no. And we have documentary evidence of that. And that the process, the contractors will be paid, but the process has to be sanitized. They will be paid for the work that was done when the evaluation is done. And we have been paying the contractors. We have been paying contractors. We have paid contractors over $40-something million in payments.
This is excluding the 100
but we have been making small payments. Well, when we see savings, because listen, as I said, you have two barriers. You get $300 million, you have a liability of $700 and something million. If you take that $300 million and pay that thing, you can't do nothing. You know? That is the reality. You can't even, when flood come by you and broke down your wall, we can't even send workmen there because you just don't have the resources. So then the THA is in this constant juggling of the resources, looking at the spreadsheet over and over to see where you can make a saving. Or we can't complete this project now. Okay, we could move the funds here to pay this contractor, pay this bill here, pay this liability. It is a very difficult exercise. Running this island is not an easy event. So because we have had, and I will say it, and this is not political enough. The reality is that the financial affairs of the THA over the last 20 years was not managed with the level of prudence and deliberateness that was required to deliver a disciplined fiscal and financial system within the THA. So you are now picking up all these issues. We have had there are issues to be resolved in the institution that is called the THA, administrative issues, management issues, and so forth. So it's not that this administration is saying we now pay the contractors. The resources are just not there. And we have been having the conversation with the central government over the last 2 years to assist by providing the resources that we can pay down these liabilities. Once we have done the audit and we verify that the work was done, we are prepared to pay the contractors. That is the model, that is the methodology. You can't do it any other way.
So is there any guarantee now that all the contracts that are undertaken by this present administration, that they are above board and they are in line with what the law prescribes or how the law instructs contracts should be engaged?
Well, if you understand the new procurement regulation of law of 2015, it says in the law that if you do a procurement process that is inconsistent with the law, the contract is null and void. The severity of that law and the preciseness of that law in terms of its design to control the procurement process is verbatim in the law itself. And therefore, if any person wants to do any project and they want to do it successfully, they have a legal requirement to ensure that all the prescriptions of the law and the regulations are observed, right? So it will be difficult for me to think that persons within the THA will know what the consequences are. Because a contractor who has bid for a project and who feel that the project was, the procurement process and the evaluation wasn't fair, can report that matter to the procurement, the controller, OPR. They can come in, stop the project, seize the document, do the investigation. The accounting officer who awards the contract is criminally liable for any misconduct. So the law itself puts a controlling mechanism around what people would have had a wayward tendency to do things contrary to the law, right? And the consequences that this law prescribes. So from that perspective alone, that legal requirement, it is very difficult and it will be foolhardy on anyone to try to circumvent the law, to do contract in this current environment that is inconsistent with the prescription of the law and the regulation of that procurement, that public procurement and disposal of public property act.
What would you say now to the population of Tobago, especially the business community, who expected that with this new administration, that we would have a better situation for business, because there's a lot of business people that complain daily that, you know, they're not seeing the liquidity and the invigoration that they expected to see. They're in Trinidad, things are progressing, it seems. And in Tobago, it seems as though like spending is still very low in Tobago, and the profit generation is still kind of low for a lot of businesses.
Right.
So what would you say to those?
So it goes back to a point that I made earlier about looking at your market. And remember, you as an individual, you have a responsibility to create a business environment, a market for your business, right? We know that the government will, being the largest spender in the space, will create what we call the enabling environment and all of that. But remember, as I said, and I've been saying it all morning, they are constrained to the limit in terms of the resources that is available to the THA. Even the administrative resources in terms of the administrative processes of the THA, because of the archaic nature. I said that the administrative process cannot even support any modern form of government. That doesn't exclude the THA. We have to do the administrative reforms. So there are those institutional structural issues that will probably have some kind of indirect impact on the business economy. But the heart of this matter is that the THA has limited funds, right? And there's only so much it can do. The major part of the THA expenditure is on recurrent expenditure pays for wages and salaries. That is the money we pump in the economy so that you could go buy the same business they're talking about and buy your roti, buy your fried chicken, buy your thing, carry home your grocery to feed your family and things. So that is consistent. So that is part of the business drive, right? The physical infrastructure in terms of creating the enabling environment to expand the economy, to bring people in, that is constrained. $300 million a year, very little. That is the same pool of funds that contractors have been fighting for to get part of for the last 10 years. That way, and it's because the fund was so little bit, the last administration started saying, go and build the road, we're going to pay you when we get money. And we end up with $700 million plus in debt. So if we don't manage that in this space, remember, we have to find a way. We cannot take that same pathway. We already have $700 million. We can create crazy economic activity in this space, you know. We could hire contractors and say, build that there, and they go and they borrow the money and they build it there, and then we end up 5 years down the road with a similar situation. This administration accumulate another $700 million, $400 million, adding to that, so we have $1.something billion in liabilities in the next 5 years. How do you manage in a space like that? It calls for prudence, it calls for discipline, and we know that in the back end, we are going to pump up the economic activity in the island. There are some structural issues that we are dealing with. We are having the conversation with the central government. There's a need for, we are looking at foreign direct investment. The administration would have put out a general request for proposal. We have had some interesting proposal coming in from foreign entities that are looking at Tobago for investment. The Chief Secretary have commissioned the preparation of what we call an investment and all they use the word universal, and all Tobago investment prospectus that will present to the investing global community that these are the areas the THA is looking for foreign investment in. These are what the THA is going to provide as inducement, whether it's land, whether it's whatever, and so forth and so forth, to get this thing going. Because we recognize that beyond the budgetary allocation, if we have to move the economy, if we have to make this place the greatest little island on the planet, there has to be a heavy cash injection to transform our economic space through the route of foreign direct investment, because we are not getting the level of cash inflow in the traditional budgetary way. $300 million a year is what we call the cottage industry style. You know what is a cottage industry? Them little thing where they make mango and sugar cake and thing. No disrespect to that. And when we say cottage industry style economy, that can't work for Tobago.
It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. It's not progressive. It's not expansive enough. And therefore, we are looking to have cash injection in the billions of dollars so that we can do multiple things. We need to build a new city of Scarborough. You heard Dr. Brother James talking all the time about the port and so forth. So we have to transform the thing. It takes time to bring all these moving parts together, to create the matrix you want. It takes some time. But the work is being done. There's a lot of technical work. The administration is only approaching its midterm in the administration by the 6th of December or the 7th of December. There will be a conversation around that as to where the administration have journey, and I think there will probably be a conversation around that. So
All right.
That is where we are.
All right, well, thank you so much, Mr. Richards. I know you have quite a lot to say, and we have a lot more to talk about in terms of the economy and so on. But I know this is a conversation we're going to be having over the next few weeks as we get ready for the budget presentation, and we're going to get to see what Tobago is going to have and how we're going to treat with all these issues that are within our country. So thank you so much, Mr. Richards, and viewers, thank you for staying with us, and we will be back with you again tomorrow. So see you then.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong.